Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing great, staying safe and sane and healthy, and just everyone's getting along out there. Well, here it is, folks. We have arrived at the end of season 3 of Spotlight on Amputee series. Man, this has been, it's had its ups and downs, that's for sure. I've had a few guests that, couldn't make it. One, I'm still not sure about or, what even happened. But, things happen. We've had to rearrange some stuff and move things around. But, man, overall, we have knocked it out of the park, y'all. You guys have been coming and just hanging out with us and learning stuff and, picking up on new things. And, man, thank you guys so much for just being a part of this. And, this journey has been... it's been awesome, to say the least, and, I've met a lot of really great people along the way. We got to hang out with some old familiar faces. I got to introduce you guys to some of my friends, like my real life friends, stuff like that. So, I'm really, really proud of this. It has definitely been, a learning experience for myself, and it's been challenging. But it's been something that I've been wanting to see through, and we've seen it all the way through, even dealing, with a pregnancy in the house, and still, it's hectic right now. So, with all that going on, we still knocked the season out, and it is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to hang out, and I have compiled some of the best of season 3. We're going to start with introductions of people and then learn a little bit more about each one of them. And then from there, we're going to just share some moments. We have some funny moments, some moments where we talk about PTSD, some not so happy stuff. And then we have, really, really uplifting things. You'll see, but I've compiled the best of season 3 on the Spotlight on Amputee series. I want to bring up my friend, your friend, Mr. Terry Brown. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Josh?
My friend, your friend, Mr. Kurt Yeager. Kurt, hey. How you doing, brother?
Thank you. He's making excuses for me. The reason I haven't come on is because I'm a pain in the ass.
Well, I didn't want to say that, but I'm trying to make you look all nice and shit, come on, man. My friend, your new friend, Mr. Robert Raymond. Robert, how are you, brother?
Hello. How's it going?
Again, we don't have a guest or anything like that. We have a co-host, my homie, somebody who's been on the show. This is your 4th time now? Third time. Okay, 3rd time being on the show. So there you go. And tonight we decided that what we're going to do is we're just going to hang out, take it easy, chill, kind of, podcast style, that kind of thing. If there's anybody, like I've been saying in my posts and stuff, anybody that has questions as far as amputees, depression, anxiety, that kind of stuff, anything along those lines, then by all means feel free to ask it, and we'll definitely answer it best we can. We're not experts in this field by any matter, but it's something that we've both been at for many years, so we can answer some stuff, but best of our ability anyway. I want to bring on my good friend, your new friend, Miss Kim Owsley.
Hello,
Kim,
everybody.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you tonight?
I'm fantastic. You doing all right? That's me. My new friend, your new friend, Miss Kayla Inman.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
I'm doing just fantastic. It's beautiful here today.
I'd love to introduce you guys the host of the Amped Up 211 podcast, Mr. Rick Bonkowski. Hey, brother.
Hello, Josh. How are you tonight?
So, without further ado, I want to introduce my good friend to the new guys that aren't, that have never met Chevy before. I want to introduce you guys to my buddy, Mr. Chevy Triple Nickel. What's up, brother?
Hello.
How you doing?
Doing great, doing great. How about yourself?
Gentleman right here, Mr. Matt Bulow. How you doing, brother?
Good, Josh.
I want to bring up my friend and your new friend, Mr. James Lee. James, how are you, brother?
Hey there. How you doing, Josh?
I was in LA and I went to Manhattan Beach, and I stepped on a bottle cap I was walking on the sand, and then I stepped on a bottle cap and then took a step onto the asphalt, and the bottle cap actually cut into the bottom of my left foot. And I didn't think it was a big deal. I just went home and washed my foot like I normally do in the shower.
Yeah.
And about a week later, it was really, really red. And there's also a line starting to go up on my shin. And I called my doctor, and he said, don't even come see me, go straight to the ER. And that's kind of where it all started. I guess the bottle cap had strep and staph on it. And I got an infection, and they tried to cut out the infection. Then the infection got into my bone and then into my bloodstream. And I went septic and had a total of 8 surgeries where they cut away, they cut away more and more and more. And then eventually they just took the leg in February of 2021.
Well, I was working on my master's degree in hydrogeology at the time up in Northern California, and had a motorcycle accident where I hit a guardrail pole and flew off a 40-foot cliff, where I basically tore my left leg most of the way off, broke my pelvis in half, tore my bladder in half, broke 7 vertebrae, collapsed my lungs, broke all my right ribs, concussion, ACL, MCL torn in my right knee, deep vein thrombosis, so blood clots. Spent 3.5 months in the hospital with 30 surgeries, so roughly 1 every 3 days. And then 6 months-ish of a back brace after that, and then taking the motorcycle out on another ride.
Well, I mean, do you care to tell us a little bit about that? How that came to be?
Okay, well, I started out this wonderful journey, becoming just a regular amputee below the knee right, back in 1999. I developed blood clots in my veins, and every time they would do a procedure or try to get rid of the blood clots, it would blow out another vein and all that good stuff. So
Kept jumping from one to the other.
you got it. So
Yeah.
and of course they didn't know what was causing it. They could only treat me. And after about a year of treatments and almost a year of being in the hospital, they finally had to take my leg. And then in I would say probably about 10 years after that, my other leg started the same problem. My left leg started the same problems with the stuff happening again. And finally in 2017, I lost my left leg. And at first it was below the knee, and I had developed an infection. And so they had to go in and revise it and make it above the knee.
Back in 2010, I developed a bump on the left side of my left foot, and it grew very quickly, but we didn't know what it was. It's kind of odd. The foot doctor sent me to, other specialists, everything. They did an MRI, and they said, oh, but you have a mass wrapped around your ankle too. Mass did not click with me yet that it might be cancer until I saw a specialist down in Indianapolis, and he said, you've got cancer and we're going to have to take your leg like yesterday because it's spreading very quickly up your leg. And I'm thankful I brought one of my best friends with me, because after I heard that, I zoned out for a few seconds and the room spun. But that cancer actually came back 4 more times over a 7-year period. And it's been 7 years of this 14 years that I've been cancer free. And I'm so
Nice.
excited to say that.
Story. How did you join us in the one-legged world? You're
I,
below knee, correct?
I am. Yep, right below
Yeah.
me. Yep.
That's right below. Okay.
So I joined you guys 3.5 years ago, September of 21. So in the heavy parts of COVID, because I had treatment-resistant complex regional pain syndrome that had developed after many, many years of trials and tribulations. The original injury I had sustained is I slipped on ice at my work and I broke a bone in my foot. And I walked on that foot for a very long time before I had surgery to correct it. And after that first surgery, I had a lot of complications that happened and never quite could get back up to, walking, running, the activities I was doing. And so I had another surgery to fix that. And then after that second surgery is when the complex regional pain syndrome just kind of reared its ugly head and said, sorry, you're not going anywhere. And CRPS is actually the most painful disease known to man. It has no cure. It's going to be stuck with me forever. So I'm happily in remission right now. But I went through the ringer with that because I tried every treatment that you could possibly think of to try and get rid of the 24 hours, 7 days a week, 10 out of 10 pain. And I got to the point where I started to die. I couldn't eat solid foods. I wasn't sleeping. I was knocking on death's door pretty quick. And I called a surgeon out in Denver and I was like, hey, I have nothing left to try. I've tried spinal cord surgeries and everything you could think of, even witchcraft. And I called him. I was like, hey, do you think that this would work? And he's like, I've done it on like a dozen people successfully. So sure, why not? Let's try it. And I woke up from my amputation and had no pain and I wept like a baby. And I was, I got a second chance at life. So
How is that? How did you come about being an amputee? How did you join us in the one-legger world?
I had kidney disease. I went into dialysis for months. I was fortunate in that I found a live donor, which was a godsend. I still am very, very close, good friends with my donor Wendy. Even to this day, we celebrate every year. She's my kidney sister, and she's incredible. So I was very fortunate. I did not do good in dialysis. Now, when you're in dialysis, for those of you who don't know, essentially what they're doing is they're taking all the blood out of your body, they're cleaning it and putting it back in. That's the simple explanation. For a number of months, I had a port in my chest, which allowed them to execute the procedure. Eventually, I got what's known as a fistula, but I had this port in my chest for a while, and it's very susceptible to infection because it's sort of a large opening to be exposed for a period of time. The fistula in the arm is a lot safer. But anyway, I had developed a couple of infections, and the ones that got really, really stubborn and nasty and did a lot of damage is I had what's referred to as a vegetation on one of my heart valves, my aortic valve, and I had also developed a infection in the bone, some of the bone in my heel and another part of my right foot. And these things were just, they were not going away. We worked really, really hard to get them under control. And the end result was an open heart surgery with a half and half prosthetic, half animal valve in my heart, which saved my life, and also a leg amputation below the knee that saved my life.
How did you become an amputee yourself?
Well, as 14 years old and had a lump on my ankle, and it was totally, something that shouldn't be there. And we got it checked out. Turned out it was cancer. So it wasn't much longer. They did a biopsy and then realized that's what it was. Did the amputation below the knee, which, for the record, anyone listening, it's so much easier than above the knee, like Josh has. I mean, it's not even close. Like this is a bit slang here, but a lot of the military guys I see who are above the knee call a below the knee a paper cut. So
Just a flesh wound.
yeah. So it's not the same league. So that was pretty tough at that age. But then it got compounded a little that after the chemo, that probably fried my pancreas, and then I was been a type 1 diabetic then since I was 16. So got a little 2-year double whammy there.
Many years ago, with disaster relief and humanitarian efforts, anti-human trafficking efforts, things like that. And I've always said, if you can catch a disease, if there's a disease you can catch from having been bit by a mosquito, I've probably caught it. And the one that almost did me in 2019 was West Nile virus, which I caught after going to the Bahamas after Hurricane Dorian in 2019. Marsh Harbor in the Bahamas was torn up pretty badly. I mean, that's an understatement. They were devastated. I went down there and coordinated an airlift using donated business aviation and civil aviation assets. And I got bitten by a mosquito and I caught West Nile virus. It nearly killed me. And I survived that. I've survived malaria. I've survived all kinds of stuff. And in June of 2021, I was doing a communications exercise with some ham radio operators. I've been a ham radio operator since I was like 12. And here in Daytona Beach, we were doing something called Field Day, which is a 24-hour communications exercise where you camp out and you're out in the heat and you are at all kinds of hard situations. And that weekend, I was having a really hard time staying up. I just didn't feel right. I couldn't get enough to drink. I felt overheated. I felt exhausted. Usually I'm fine sleeping on the ground in the heat. And it was the middle of the night and I just I can't take this. I went up and got my Suburban and turned the heat or the air conditioner on in the Suburban so I could get some sleep. And the next morning I woke up and couldn't breathe at all. I went to medical school when I was 40. Didn't graduate because of the 2009 bank failures. And but I had one of those pulse oximeter things you could put on your thumb. Mm-hmm. And it was by the bed in the bedside table, or in the drawer, and I got it out, and my oxygen saturations were way too low to be, healthy, in the 70s. Went to the hospital, and they were listening. They're like, "Hey, so dude, how long you had this heart murmur?" I don't have a heart murmur. Yeah, you do. No, I don't. Yeah, you do. Turned out my mitral valve failed, boom, exploded. They don't know why. We think maybe because of West Nile virus is what they call idiopathic, and fulminant, meaning idiopathic, meaning they don't know why, fulminant meaning it happened immediately. It wasn't a progression over time.
Yeah.
And it turned out that I was in congestive heart failure overnight. And because of COVID, the surgery was put off for about 6 months. And then, went in for surgery and had a horrible outcome. Things happened that led to a cascade of events that led to me being in a coma for a couple months, in the hospital for about 5 months. And in the process, my fingers and each of my fingers and both of my legs died because of lack of blood flow and became black and like beef jerky and they needed amputation. So I ended up with all four fingers here completely amputated. I don't know if you can see the part of the thumb there is just shaved off. They managed to get that to come back alive. And then on my left hand, I've lost pretty much most of my digits. So I call myself a dodeca amputee.
Well, I worked underground in the coal mines for quite a few years, and I went to work on November 28, 2011. And about an hour before quitting time, I was running a continuous miner, which cuts the coal, and a shuttle car, which hauls the coal. After I'd loaded him, he had pulled out, went up a little hill behind me, and had his wheels cut to go around the corner. So I turned back around and started cutting for the next car, and the next thing I know, I'm getting crushed from behind. Therefore, it took the leg off, my right leg off, below the knee, and broke my left one in about 18 places.
Look, I don't want opioids. I want a drug-free solution. And this is what they came up with. And what it is basically is you have two leads that go up your spine. And then they put, it's the Medtronic is the name of the company that manufactures the spinal stimulator. Mm-hmm. There's other companies that do it, but Medtronic's supposed to be the best. And they're the people that invented the pacemaker. So they put a battery like a pacemaker they surgically implant it into your back. And then from that little battery, the two leads go up your spine. And when you go in to have the surgery, they cut your back open and they put these leads on your spine. And the reason you're awake is they touch your spine and say, where do you feel that? And you'll say, oh, I feel that in my left foot or my left limb, in my stomach.
Oh, wow.
So then they will affix that to your spine. And then they'll put another one and say, where do you feel that? And I'll say, well, I feel that in my lower back. And they'll say, okay, we're going to put one that will help your lower back pain. And so they figure out exactly where your pain is, and they attach the leads to those areas, and then they close you up, and you're done. So it is kind of a process while you're in the surgery because you are laying on your stomach.
But one thing, you know what I just did, maybe I'll go grab them, but there's this company makes shoes, these really rad boots. Dude, I'm gonna get in trouble because they sent me a bunch of them. Altama. It's a company that makes boots for like Navy SEALs and and they're all American. So the material, everything, and they have to be because they're DOD.
Very cool.
So Altama is like one of the brands, and the second brand is I don't know. I'll look it up here in a second. But Altama makes this step-in boot where you can have it laced up, and your regular foot, your working one foot, right, goes into the boot, slides in, and it's a high boot. So it comes up a ways like it's a high top, and your foot can slide into it. Now, because of that design, it makes it sliding in your prosthetic side when you just undo the laces so easy. So
very cool. So you still do the laces and everything like normal. It's not like it's like it hides it kind of.
Yeah.
Because I've seen with the kind where the shoes will actually come out because Vans makes a pair.
Yeah, the step in.
Similar. Yeah, step in exactly where you can just kind of literally step down inside there, and it has like an extra sole that comes out the back of. This dude went to Home Depot and like took some L pipe, like just PVC pipe and stuff, and ran it, and then ran like 4 pipes coming out of it, and hooked a blow dryer to it with and just he would turn the blow dryer on and it would just shoot out all 4, but he would put his liners on all 4 of those. I was like, dude, and you would think, oh, fire hazard and all that shit, but I mean, it's only on there just for a minute, it's not like it's just sitting there just blowing constantly. So, but that's a really cool idea.
That is a cool idea. I like that. My other half did the same thing for me. He made me a liner heater, but more like a towel on the basis of a towel warmer type thing. Because
Okay.
I was always telling him that my liners were really cold, and he made his own, and it worked for a couple of weeks, and then I said, this is just too much work to plug it in the morning, wait, blah blah blah, and at the time I had no I didn't want to wait around for it, so I
Yeah.
just put the damn thing on, I got in the car and went to work. So that's, but like you said, they get pretty
The
cold.
top dogs in the profession as far as knees and feet and liners. And, we don't use only Oster stuff, but we do get the opportunity lots of times to give feedback on new products and so forth. So, but we absolutely do get a lot of that, what you were talking about, of early in the development testing and so forth. We're actually, I'll tell you, we're testing right now, pretty cool, is instead of a cast, we're doing a scan of the limb with really high quality 3D scanners. And then you do the shaping that we would do manually with plaster. And then you send that to a 3D printer, and it actually 3D prints the test socket.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. We did stage 1 of that testing. My buddy in Houston, the Houston clinic associated with us, and we're just about to start it in 6 other locations across the country, one of which will be local. So, pretty cool. So.
Okay, story time. So I was in my 20s. I was drinking. I was really heavily drunk, and I was in the bathroom, forgot I didn't have my leg on, stood up, went to take a step, timbered over like a tree stump. I had bruising all down my arm, all down my hip, because and I got stuck behind the door, all because I'd forgot I didn't have a leg.
It's called party scars. That's what that's called.
Right.
It's a good night when you walk away with party scars, man.
And
it was even more fun. Yeah, exactly. It's even more fun if you don't know how they got there.
Right.
It was a great night. What the hell did you do? Man, I don't know. I really don't know.
Remember.
Yeah. So, had fun. I could say that. We had fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Right
I
on.
invited all my fans over from OnlyFans, so you might start seeing them. Just kidding. I don't have an OnlyFans.
What was it? Bonnie Brown.
Yeah.
Define me as being a military veteran who's back and feeling the pain. Right? But that's half the fucking roles I've played, because that's all they can figure an amputee can do. When I look around a room of executives or casting or whoever, and they're like, oh, Kurt, you really need the help of these other guys in the room and blah, blah. And I'm like, I could kick this shit out of all of you at the same time with my brain. Right? But they're like, oh, Kurt, but you need people. And I'm like, get fucked. But they pay me, so I play those characters.
We do a lot of cruising, a lot of cruises, and I've started doing the cruises when I had just the one side amputated, and then I went to both sides to a bilateral amputee, and first thing I did was I had a motorized cart, and I still do. I bought one. I have a motorized cart, and on the ship I was the tiny terror, because I'd run into people, run off the elevators, and all this good stuff. So then I decided,
Smash into people. Oh, I'm just learning. Sorry, my bad.
Exactly. Or, oh, look at me, I'm an amputee.
I'm an amputee. Oh, don't play that card. Get out of here.
I don't have any legs.
Oh, poor little old me and my no legs. Oh.
Well, yeah, when you run into them.
Get out of here.
And you've been drinking all afternoon, and you run into people, but no.
You're going to do that one time and end up on a cruise for amputees and not realize it. They're going to be like, yeah, go cry that somewhere else, buddy. Get out of here.
Exactly.
I remember going into the shoe place and taking off my leg and just turning it upside down and trying to put a boot on it. And people were coming around the corner looking at me like, and I was like, hey, I got to try a boot on somehow.
Or if it comes up over your prosthetic and you actually take the whole boot off and they're just kind of like,
yeah.
it's like, oh my God, did she just pull her whole foot off? Is her foot still in the shoe? What am I looking at? Because it still comes up like over top of the sleeve and everything. Oh my God, that would be a great prank to play on somebody. And just be like, can you help me take my boot off? That doesn't know you're an amputee.
Yeah.
And have them like sit there and pull your boot off, and then there's a stump looking right at them. It's just like, I mean, it'd be a liner, but still, hey, whatever. It would still be hilarious.
Kids all the time ask me, take your leg off. And so I'll pop it off and then they'll be like, I'll put it back on. They're like, do it again. And I'm like, once was enough.
But then they were easy to access via either the knee crutch or the forearm crutches or whatever I needed.
Very cool.
So I've been very intentional with making sure that my homes are accessible for me, just because, I'm not going to put myself in a position of living in a 3-story townhome and, risking a fall and breaking my leg and not being able to access, my house. So,
yeah. I mean, plus there's monsters in the basement anyway, so you don't want to go down there. So, we just want to avoid that at all costs. We can't run from monsters like everyone else can, okay?
Exactly.
We can't turn the light off and run out of a room like everyone else. We got to just stand there and face the monsters that are running after us when you turn the light off, all right?
Yep.
Everybody does that. They flip on the light, they're just like, shoo, and they're gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The creepy crawlies is what gets me. So, stay down there.
Yeah, we can't do that, man. Okay, everybody, look. All right, amputees, you got to feel bad for us. All right, look, this is our poor little old us moment. All right, when that invisible monster's running after us, that shadow monster's running after us, when you flip off the light switch, all right, we just got to stand there. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So poor us, man. Poor us. All right. You wonder why I got PTSD.
Like your friends and family, they're exhausted. They're like, what's happening now? And then it almost becomes like, I'm doing something wrong. Like, what did you do now? What's happening, right? Because they're on this roller coaster with you. And
you start suffering in silence when that happens. It's what's wrong,
like,
nothing.
I don't even want to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even want to tell you what's going on. Because
I feel bad for feeling bad.
You're watching everyone around you just in anticipation, and then you give them the bad news, and they're just like, "Oh, man, not again!" Well, when are you going to get better?
Or even with yourself, is like, all right, I got that surgery. That should be good. I should be fixed up.
I should be good now.
You stop getting excited about it. You just be like, well, that should buy me a couple more months. It's like, no, this is supposed to be like end all be all. You're supposed to be done. But when a person's been through it so much, they're just kind of like, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, we'll see how that works out for me. And again, it's not just like, oh, you're so negative. No, you're being realistic because for a fact what you've been through. Again, you just don't go bugging everybody with it because, it's like, okay, I get it. You're having a hard time right now. I don't know what you want me to do, man. I mean, I felt really, really horrible for you the first 11 times, but now it's just kind of like, you got this, bud. Anyway, like I was saying, then just move on to the next person,
I've actually had people say that phrase to me that you just said. They're like, so you're done now, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, you are officially exhausted with my situation.
Yeah. It's like, man, I'm so sorry, y'all. I don't know what to tell you anymore,
I know you're out of thoughts and prayers for me, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. What was it? I saw like a meme or something like that. Said I'm gonna name my 2 dogs Thoughts and Prayers because they're both useless.
That's a good one. Oh,
that's kind of a negative way to put it, but either way.
I actually had a 1988 Ford F-150 standard shift. I said, I'm going to try to drive that truck with one leg. And all I had was my left foot, you know, my other one's cut off at my knee.
Mm-hmm.
I got my wheelchair there beside that truck, and I lifted myself up in that. I pushed the emergency brake, pushed the clutch in and started it. I put my left foot on the brake, let off the emergency brake. I was parked on a little hill. It rolled back enough. I hit the brake. I pushed the clutch in. I put it in first gear, and I eased on that clutch, and I took off right down the road going to my father-in-law. He just lived like a quarter mile down below me. So here I go down through there. I go from the clutch with my left foot to the gas with my left foot. Then I go back to the clutch, change gears with my left foot. Then I go back to the gas and give it gas with my left foot. I go, want to stop. I just throw it up neutral and I hit the brake, you know.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to think when I pulled in down there at his house that day. I could see the look on his face. Like, he's like, how is he driving that truck with one leg?
It's pretty sweet once you get going down the road and don't have to switch gears with the second pull up to a red light. Man.
Yeah, that's awful. Yeah, that's awful.
You're sitting there coming up to an intersection. You're like, stay green, stay green, stay green.
Yeah,
oh my God, stay green.
Please.
Damn it. Yeah. Because that'd be a nightmare as soon as you have to take off, especially if you got to take off on a hill. Oh my God.
Yeah, that would be probably pretty much impossible. That'd be really hard, really hard.
I mean, you could do patches. I've seen patches.
Yeah, you can do that for sure. I got one. I don't know where it's at. No, yeah, I don't know where it's at. I got one that I use for a lot of educational purposes, and they actually integrated a Bulow patch, like in the actual carbon fiber itself.
Oh yeah.
And so I thought that was cool as hell. But it looks like, you know, something you would have like on your hat or something like that, like an actual patch. It's pretty cool.
Oh, and I did order a pullover and a shirt from you. I'm waiting to receive it still, but yeah, I did order from your merch. I'm really excited about it.
Nice. Oh, hey, you know what? I forgot all about it. Look, thank you for saying that. Check this out, y'all. My bad. Look, bam, there we go. So there we go. Yeah. So everybody, yes, remember from now until the end of February, if you use offer code BABYMOL, there you go, right there across the bottom, you'll receive 25% off your entire order. So there you go. To the end of February.
Yep, she's my emotional support dog. She's 10 years old now. I've had her since she was 6 weeks. She's very patient dog.
What's her name?
Her name is Tarna.
Tarna.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Heavy Metal. It's an animated movie. Came out in the movie. Okay. Tarna is the warrior princess at the end.
Yes, absolutely.
We've had people, we've had legs, we've had all kinds of crazy shit on the show, but we've never had I almost said CNI dog, a service animal. There we go.
There she is.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, now I'm just gonna sit there and lick you in the face the whole time. Is that cool?
Yeah, she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you left me. How dare you?
Hey, look at us. Look at us. Hey. Oh,
here.
Those ears perked up.
Yeah.
There you are.
We don't spend much time apart, so this is these last 40 minutes has been hard for her.
Oh man, it's so tough. It's so tough being a dog. It's so neglectful, man.
Oh, I know. She's got a hard job.
Yeah, exactly. Blue eyes. Like, she's so beautiful. She has blue eyes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What kind of dog is that?
She's a miniature American Shepherd.
Okay.
So she's like about 25 to 30 pounds. Yes, I know. Very sweet. Very smart dog. She's turning 6 this April. And her puppy is 2.5. So, but.
Very, very cool. Those keep you busy, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, I bet. That's so cool. Oh, look at it just lays that head over on you. Just like,
Yep.
God, this is my human. I
Yes.
love my human.
I know. So sweet. So sweet.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so amazing what animals can do for you, as far as like not necessarily go get this, but I'm just saying to your heart and to your emotions.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It's, I have a bearded dragon sitting right here next to me, and she is not my emotional support animal, but pretty damn close, I mean, I've been in some pretty rough times before, and I'll just grab her and kind of sit there and just like kind of hug on her, and it does, man. It makes you feel better,
Yeah, she's pretty great. That's what she actually learned. I was bedbound for a hot minute, and when she was a puppy, and that's what I was like, crap, I need help. I need someone to like help do deep pressure therapy and go get things for me. And like, I was like, well, you're going to learn how to be a service dog now. So
Were you, well, I'll first ask this. Did you have any kind of like PTSD or trauma from?
I still do.
Not necessarily from the accident, but when you got like on your bike and sat on it and just kind of looked at it like.
I still do.
Sure about this.
I still do every single time. Like, it's almost like, that motocross guy Twitch, who's like, has a twitch until he rides. Like, that's how I feel now. Like, I go, okay, here, let me put on my jacket, boots, this, that, and the other, whatever. Okay, wallet, keys, cell phone, da 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 da. And then I go, okay.
Yep.
And then I'm like, yeah, I got this little like I just do that every time now before I get on, where I never did before. And then I just go, all right, that's, this is the possibility, but it is what it is. So
for me, mine is popping my neck when I don't need to pop it. Like, I walk in somewhere and I'll just kind of go like, yeah. And I don't know why I do that. It's just kind of a go-to. It's like a comfort thing, I guess. I don't know. I've had people say that. It's just like, that's your comfort kind of switch. It makes you, it's your own way of going, it's all right, buddy. It's okay.
Yeah. It's like the outside you or the inside you is telling the outside you, it is what it is. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, I lost the left leg, and that was the leg that I normally would bounce before I lost the leg. So I feel like I lost that, and now I'm like, I use my right leg to do it, but it's not the same. It doesn't engage the same thing. So maybe there's other twitches I'm doing.
Some people, but also something else that I wanted to ask, like kind of a side question, is you were in the military. So that can kind of carry over, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to handle it with kid gloves and not be like, just. So
no,
tell me.
I told you when we were starting this that you could ask me anything, and if I don't want to answer the question, I won't. But you're absolutely right. Other things happened to me in the military, which may have or could have caused PTSD. I was involved in a helicopter explosion when I was serving in Korea. I was involved with some other stuff that happened to me in basic training. Actually, I almost died in basic training from blood poisoning. But you're right. With 100%. Everything that I went through, it was just unreal. I don't think I went through PTSD, but I think I made it through thanks to my family and a few friends that I had. I made it through all the way through because it was like you. It was not a single process. It was a very long process. And and of course, being an amputee now and a bilateral amputee, of course, I can't do everything that everybody else does. So it's hard on my partner, but we make do. So
that's how we are, dude. I mean, that's how we do it, man. I mean, shit, look at us out here living it up. Getting any kind of PTSD from it would probably pretty much be a stupid question. So
it's a given, pretty much, with it.
Yeah, exactly. So how does Miss Kayla deal with that? How do you, is that
something you've handled, took, head on, or is it kind of winging it?
I struggled for a really long time with it, just because, it was mostly just medical PTSD. When you go through all this stuff and the pain and the surgeries and the gaslighting that you're going through with a lot of these providers, and you're going through just like all this trauma all at once, it's a lot. I struggled for a while because I was like, I can handle this myself, which is, you sometimes need some help. So I've been in therapy for quite some time. I practice a lot of mindfulness. I meditate quite often.
Really?
And one of the biggest things that I have found helpful in like my journey is a gratitude jar. So I have a mason jar, and every day I write on a little slip of paper 3 things that I'm grateful for. And I noticed when I started doing this, my gratitudes were like, I'm breathing, I'm awake, I have my dogs. And like, it was very simple things. And now it's like, I got to do all these wonderful things today. And the mindset has shifted over the years. And it's nice because on days where I'm like, wow, I just having a hard day, and I open that jar and I can just pull out a little slip. I'm like, oh yeah, 3 years ago, I was really struggling to even remember how to be grateful for things. And now I'm, sitting here. So.
Have you ever had any let me rethink this, maybe I shouldn't be doing this kind of moments? The ones that just scared the living shit out of you? You had any close calls, I guess?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Really?
There was one time that it was up to us whether we want to go down the track or not, because it had rained the day before, and the water about 400 foot out was seeping up through the concrete, and we knew it. But I told the boy that I didn't care, we'd go ahead and run it, and he agreed too. But we didn't know which one was going to get the lane. We had to flip for it, so it could have been me getting the lane or him getting the lane. And I was hoping that he would get the lane, but my luck, I got the lane. And going on the staging lane, looking around, like you said, that was one of those times I said to myself, why am I doing this? But I was pretty much stupid and done it, and got down there and lost control, and it turned around on me. Luckily, there was like a median, just a small, like an 8-inch concrete median on each side of the road. That's all there was. There wasn't no guardrails or anything like that to hit. But when you hit one of them medians, you'll tear your tires, your wheels, maybe your rocker panels or something,
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, I got under control of it and got it under control. But yeah, that was one of those times I wish I hadn't went down that day.
Man, yeah.
You don't think about these things. Hey, here's something I'll say. I'm going to look in the camera. If you are not in a wheelchair and you use the wheelchair accessible stall when there's other stalls available, you're an asshole. Don't do it.
100%.
Because I deal with that every day, and you probably do too. And a lot of times it's a store employee that's gone into like the handicapped single bathroom, and they're in there for 20 minutes on their cell phone, and they come out and they just look at you like, well, sorry. And that's something that really gets me going.
They're hanging out and they're clock dodging. That's what we call
They're
it.
clock dodging. Don't do that.
Yeah,
I get it.
that's a
Some
scumbag
people are
move.
like, I'm claustrophobic. Well, you know what? Deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm not claustrophobic, but I physically cannot get in that other stall.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a need to be in there and there's another stall and you choose to go in there, I won't use the word again, but you're a jerk, and don't do it. I'm sure there's a lot of people on here that will agree with me, and maybe there's some people who are like, well, there's some disabilities aren't visible. So no, I get that.
Yeah.
But those disabilities don't require that extra room.
And I joined amputee groups, and I started asking them. I was just like, is it okay if I'm here? Like, I don't understand. And they were just like, yes, absolutely. It's like, and they basically same thing. They explained the exact same thing. It's just like, you know, any appendage, your phalanges, your anything like that goes missing. It can be even just like the tip of your finger.
Yep.
You know, it's support. It's stuff that, you know, you have questions. It's not, again, like people hear the word support and they think, you know, hey, what's up, Reckoning? Good seeing you, brother. They hear the word support and they're like, you know, again, rub you on your shoulders. It's going to be, oh, you're going to be all right, pal. That's not what it is. It's like, what do you guys do in this situation when this, or, oh my God, I've ran out of whatever, you know, what do you guys do until you get to your prosthetist? You know,
Right.
It's advice. That's what support is, you know.
Yes.
And a lot of people, they join those groups thinking that, you know, it's a therapy session. And it's like, some people, they're willing to help you. Like Clarence Wiggins, that guy, he's super nice, you know. He's always down to help out.
And because I've had it for so long, and you know, it's basically, you know, almost a whole leg kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little, I don't want to say heartless in that type of thing, but I'm not going to give you the, oh, poor baby. It's not going to happen.
Yep.
I'm going to give you any tips or tricks I can give you and tell you that, you know what, life goes on and it's going to be okay. But I'm not going to.
I'll give you a brief window. You know, I'll give you that adjustment period of, yeah, I know, brother. I know, sister. I feel you. I know it sucks, man. I'm right here. Just know it's going to be all right. It's going to be okay. You're going to get through this. You're going to do all right. Week 2, come on, man. We gotta move forward. This is, you're not going to lay in here and get up. Get up. We got to move. Come on. Let's do stuff. Come on. You know, like I said, I'll give you a little bit of time with it, but after that window's closed, we're done. Get your ass up. We are moving. All right. Nothing you got to say or do is going to change that. So.
And everybody's feelings are totally valid, and they have a right to feel those feelings.
100%.
Yes. But not to let it end. But I have met people who literally have chosen to end their existence over losing a limb. And, you know, whatever suffering comes with that, which is not an easy choice either. And that's something I don't fully understand. Being an amputee myself, that, you know, I live a very fulfilling life without a leg. So, you know, I would never want to give up on the potential of seeing my grandchildren or those things just because I'm losing a appendage of some sort. You know, if I had to, you know, lose the other one, take it. It's gone. You know, I got stuff to do.
I think I would tell myself, if I was talking to myself who was laying on the couch at the time, I know this is hard, but you've been through harder stuff than this. You've been through hell and back several times in your life, and you're a fighter, and I'm gonna watch your back, and I'm gonna be here for you mentally. You know, I'm gonna be that voice in the back of your head that's gonna cheer you on, and even on the roughest days, you go ahead and cry, but you get back up when you rest, but get back up. That's what I would tell myself.
No, I just, you know, I'm thankful for being able to share my story again, because sharing your story is one of those things that if I can help inspire another human being to get through a tough time, like that's, you know, I'm glad I'm here then. So I'm just grateful to be alive, and I am happy that I get to spend another day here with my dogs and with you and having a good time.
You know, being an amputee, depending on what stage of that sort of rebirth you're going through can be incredibly isolating. And going through that dark period, let's call it that dark forest that we have to travel through. The first thing I always say to, these baby bird, brand new amputees, right? Post-op, legs swollen. How am I going to get this in a prosthesis?
We call those day ones.
Bingo. And the first thing I always ask is, hey, what's your support system like? And let's face it, if someone is not, let's say, part of a family or have a partner or living within a community that they're active in, my urgency is how can I point them towards resources that will give them not just the support, but all the information that they're starving for. So the first thing I would say is, Josh has this show that he does, this live stream that he does. You should catch it, because people are talking about these issues. People are getting into the good, the bad, and the ugly, and they're supporting each other and they're rallying for each other. Hey, by the way, there's this other organization over here. Here's a link to get to their website. Or, I did some research and there's a community group in your area. Maybe you should check it out. If that's not a good fit for you, maybe you should do this. There has to be resources for us, because once you immerse yourself into this, community, which is just beautiful, by the way, you realize I'm not alone.
That's a really good question. And you're wrong, I didn't see this one. If I did, I would have written an answer down for it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's like what would you tell yourself what would you tell your past self if your future self could go back in time?
There you go. Right on.
It's just strange. It really is. It's been an interesting journey, one that I never thought I'd be on, ever in my life. I'd ever be on this, and I really hate to say it, but it never gets easier. It never does. Don't I ever look for it to get easier, because once you get into that lock, and you know this as well as I do, once you get into that lock where, oh, my life is so perfect now and all this other stuff and everything's fine, and then all of a sudden it bluey, it just goes. I mean, this all started because I was out on Columbus Day weekend at the beach playing football, and I tripped, and I thought I sprained my ankle. So I went to the emergency room. They said, yes, you sprained your ankle. If it hurts again, come back in. If it hurts more, come back tomorrow. The next day I went back, and it wasn't a sprained ankle, it was a blood clot. And they didn't notice that right away. I had 14 hours later, I had to go back to the hospital, and they had to medevac me to Hopkins to get it. I live on the East Coast, so they medevaced me to Hopkins for my first rounds of surgeries. So, but it never gets easier. It never does, and I wish it did. No matter what advancements you have, or what legs you have, or what friends you have, what advice you have, it just never gets easier. But you keep going, so you keep hoping that it's going to. But you always have to keep in your back that it's not going to get easier.
It is like, how people go like, well, if God made everything, who made God? And I'm like, well, God is outside of time. We live in the construct of 4 dimensions, right? Like X, Y, Z, and then time. Well, if the entity that created the fish tank lives outside of that dimension, then it's an irrelevancy to that dimension's entity. And so when we have these experiences, it's a proof of either something crazy like, a simulation or whatever, or at least that there's something outside of time. because we can travel now with our energy, spirit, soul, whatever you want to call it, to another time period, and you're there, you know, with your spirit. Obviously your body's here, but that part of you is there, and that gives me that
scary too.
yeah. And so that makes me think, you know, yeah, well, then there's a God, you know, like it doesn't make any other sense. I mean, there's other things that can explain it, like simulation, everything else, but you know, it seems like something outside of time, which is, you know, a real explanation for me on the constructs of an entity out there.
Think about yourself. The first year wasn't all rosy. And I try to make sure that I tell people that is, hey, I know that all you've seen from this is people who can jump far and high and run fast. Is you know, that's not the real world of prosthetics. That's about 1%, if even. You know, even as many active people as I see, man, I'd say less than 1% actually want to run. So I try to be realistic because the information that is out there is usually something dramatic. And it's like, you don't have to be dramatic to have a successful journey with this.
Yeah. You know, and I've said that time and time again, you know, you're going to see, because a lot of people, they'll lose their limb and they immediately they're at home, you know, healing up, that kind of stuff, and they start watching YouTube and that kind of stuff, and they all start gravitating towards those amputee videos, you know, and they start looking at people like my friend Kurt or Amy Bream, Amy Purdy, you know, Ben Lavelle. There's lots of people out there that are doing like crazy things, you know, Nick Lavery, you know, that are just like lifting weights and climbing mountains and doing all this stuff. And it's just like, man, don't watch those and get like this, you know, I'm never going to be able to do that when you really couldn't do that before, you know. I mean,
I use Michael Jordan on, you talk about Nick or Amy and all those, is you don't get deflated about shooting hoops because you can't do what Jordan does. Well, Lavery, Bream, they're Michael Jordan. They literally are Michael Jordan. 100%. So you can use it as motivation and fun to watch and so forth, but then you just got to be yourself.
Yeah, learn from it, see what they're doing, and adapt their style to what you're doing. And it's like, man, I never really thought about that. See how she's moving her leg? When she lifts that weight, she'll kick that leg out like that. I need to start doing that. You know, that's what I use that kind of stuff for, is like a roadmap on how to adjust and how to get used to doing certain things, you know. And that's what I get from them, you know, because like I said, if you try to start comparing your own story to this and like what they're doing, that depression, that PTSD, that stuff that you're sitting there, that if it hasn't hit you yet, it's about to, that is, it's going to be 10 times worse for you, because you mainly just need to focus on walking and just simply healing up and just moving on to the next thing and being that person you were before, you know. And that's what I tell everybody.
Probably the most important thing we've said in this hour is just, you know, you just can't, like, I mean, if I try to do some stuff Amy does, I mean, I'd be in the hospital. Like, I mean, you know, she's Michael Jordan, and you just, you know, you honor it, and you're inspired by it, and frankly entertained by it, and then it just motivates you to do what you can do.
So there you have it, folks. I told you, this season was something special, man. We had, you know, a lot of great guests, and, you know, a lot of good times. We've learned a lot of, you know, fascinating things, learned about a lot of new products, and just had some laughs. And, you know, it's been great, man. It has really been great. I'm not going to eat up any more of you guys' time. I really, really appreciate every single one of y'all for coming, being a part of the show. I want to thank Firmu Optics. I want to thank Bulow Prosthetics and Fusainli Medical Devices for just helping out the channel and, you know, helping us grow and get videos out there and that kind of stuff. And I also, above all, want to thank you guys. Thank you all so much for coming, being a part of this. And, you know, we're going to have season 4. It's coming, you know, sooner than later. And And yeah, man, this ball is just going to keep on rolling, and as it rolls, it's going to pick up more and more steam, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger. So again, I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited for the future. It's going to be amazing. So thank you guys very, very much. With that, I want everybody to do me a huge favor. Please stay happy, safe, sane, motivated. Don't look back. Don't give a crap what anybody else says about you, because at the end of the day, it don't matter. I'll see you soon.